evening and welcome to the Manchester United agenda after, what was it, the final round of 16 this evening. So we're going to be talking about Romania versus Holland, Austria versus Turkey, and maybe some ligt stuff or whatever Amonde and Mr. B have been up to. Amonde, what have you been up to?
Okay, so today I've got one of my best friends. I lived with him for about 10, 15 years. And then he moved to Sri Lanka, and he's had a son. He's got a 7-year-old son, and he's come over and he's staying with me for a few days. He's a DJ, so he's playing in some festival in North Wales on Friday, which goes a beautiful countryside. He plays every year, but he's been staying with me. So we've had some food today. We've gone through some music, selecting some records and bits and bobs. I've got a few doubles that I've given to him. And we went walkies, playing with his son. We had a great day today. And tomorrow I'm going back to work. So I'm giving him my key. He can go about his business and enjoy London. So that's what I've been up to today.
Is he the guy?
I have watched the football as well.
You have watched the football. Good to hear. Is he the guy that you go to the Maldives to see?
No, yeah. When you go to Sri Lanka, you sometimes stop at the Maldives and then go on to Sri Lanka. So that's one of the stops.
All right, good stuff. Well, I'm not in Wales this weekend, so unfortunately I'll be missing that festival.
Do you know the festival I'm talking about?
I think I do, actually, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mr. B, what have you been up to today, sir?
Nothing. I had a late day at work. I came home. I had a big Jack Daniels and Coke, and I sat down and watched all of the football.
Well, it's nice to hear your recovery is on track.
You know, to be fair, that's the first drink I've had in months.
Wow.
What was it? Was it delicious?
Absolutely fucking fantastic.
The clinking of the ice, the sort
of it was a home, the home one. So you put that Daniels, and you put that one Coke. It's still brown with ice, so you don't know what. Yeah.
Was it chilled? Served chilled?
I loads of ice in it, so it was as chilled as it was going to get in it. But I've missed my whiskey, man.
How does a connoisseur like you drink? Do you sip or do you back it like?
It really depends on the mood. I sip this one, but I have been known to take shots of whiskey. So yeah.
Do you have a little umbrella in there?
No,
straw.
No, I don't. I actually have it in a whiskey glass, not a bloody cocktail shaker or whatever you call those things that look like this.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments what fun drinks you have.
What have you been up to today, bath time?
Just work really, and arranging some stuff for the weekend. But no, a boring but enjoyable day. Like, I don't like interesting days. I like days that are just easy to manage and you get everything done, and then you can go and watch the football and talk to Mr. B about like what umbrellas he drinks.
I'll get lost both time.
Look, it's each to their own, Mr. B.
Listen.
Now, Stephanie Griffiths is bigging up the Euro team. Is that what we are, the Euro team? And here's someone who's on our team. It's Matty Bassett saying good evening all. And look, an early boy today. It's DK Wilson, all the way from Wyoming, I think.
Yeah.
Good one.
I haven't heard about this, but
the second bid they rejected one, and West Ham are trying to decide whether or not they're going to go in for another one. Obviously, they don't know what we bid, so I suppose I'm not going to say their bid's lower, but he ain't going to go nowhere until he knows he definitely can't come to us. So I think West Ham are just chancing their luck, to be fair. I don't want him to go anywhere if he comes to the Prem, because I know, one of those where it's going to burn you to know that he was our player. You know what I mean?
Well, I think when you look at like that Sesko clown from last night, and also Timo Werner.
Can you imagine if somebody had spent money on Sesko?
It was one game, but he did look dreadful. But
better than Hoyland.
Cisco from Drew Hill.
Very good. Did he do the thong song?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I bet you he has an umbrella in his drinks.
Yeah, he definitely does.
100%.
A rainbow umbrella.
Monday.
He does. It's true. Facts.
Facts, yeah.
Yeah.
But the point I meant about Sesko and Werner is that they both moved for wildly lower fees between the Red Bull clubs than the ones that are in the paper. So if West Ham do get to Debo, I'm hoping it's 60 or 70 million. Like, and you know, like a ridiculous fee. All right. We have, we don't, we do, but we also have Bilal who's saying Turkish delight. And Tyrone, have we just witnessed the best game of the tournament? Certainly save of the tournament. I think we'll come on to that, but I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that notion. Downer, it's Bart saying hello all. We had a night off from him last night. All right, so first of all, let's get the Dutch out of the way. De Ligt didn't start. Like Romania were okay in that game. I mean, Monday, did you see that match?
Yeah, I did watch the game, and it was a great day of football. That game was really buzzing. The fans, the Romanian fans, are on it. The Dutch fans, as always, they're good. Good build-up as well from whatever terrestrial TV show I was watching that from. Good build-up. They talked about in '88, we did a Dutch team. It was the last time they won a major tournament, World Cup or European Championships, and they expected to move on from them and win many more, but they haven't. That was a great side back then. In fact, many great sides, many great players. It's about forming a team, and as Mr. B said in the group chat, the manager Koeman has made many different changes, and we wanted to see De Ligt, obviously we want to see Frimpong and all these guys, but he's changed the team around and he's got the result he desired. I thought it was a tough test. Before the game, I would have said it was tough, and Romania did start off well. They showed what they're all about. They're fighting and buzzing around, but eventually the class of Holland started to take control of the game, and they won quite convincingly in 3-0, and I think it was a very good performance. The only thing I'd say, if you talk about potential winners, I don't see Holland being potential winners. You've got good, world-class centre-back.
Why?
Van Dijk. Well, there's a reason. I think they've got world-class centre-back in Van Dijk. They've got good full-backs. And the centre-back partner is pretty good. So defence is okay. The issue for me would be with the main striker. I don't think you get many goals out of Depay. We know all about him, don't we, Mr. B, Depay? He was at Man United, and now he's playing as a striker. I don't think he works hard enough. Good player. They play good build-up play. Holds up the ball really well. Quite strong. But I just don't see the desire in him as a top goal scorer is going to be clutch for you and deliver time after time. They showed some highlights before the game about the good and bad of this player, Depay playing up front. And the alternative to him is Weghorst. So two players associated with Man United. That's why I don't think they've got that cutting killer edge in as a striker to be tournament winners again. So I think the drought is going to carry on since 1988. I think the drought's going to continue with the Dutch. And even Turkey seems a tough game, and maybe Switzerland or England. I think there's not much between these teams, but I just don't think the Dutch have got that cutting edge up front to win the whole tournament.
I'm pretty stunned, Monday. That was a really insightful and concise analysis, and you had the opportunity to talk about the 1988, 1990, and 1994 teams, and you didn't talk to us about Voller spitting on Hullet or anything.
That was in 1990, yeah. That when they got knocked out, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of agree with a lot of what you said. I will say that the one thing that I really liked about Depay today was he did two things that we haven't seen in football for a long time. One is he tried to score direct from a corner to keep their goalkeeper honest, which I'm a big fan of doing that, getting pressure on the keeper from any set piece. And the other one is he went underneath the wall. And I can't remember the last time I've seen someone go underneath the wall.
Oh, they didn't have the person lying down.
Yeah. And he just kissed the outside of the post. But Mr. B, you've heard Amonde saying they've got a decent defence but lack a bit up front. What are your thoughts?
I would agree with that, but I still think they'll beat England. I think England are the worst of this side of the draw. Everybody else has put. Look, if you look, everybody else has put a decent performance in. Turkey today were good. Switzerland put a performance in, good. Netherlands bang 3, and okay, they've been hit and miss, but you score 3 goals and win the game 3-0. You're on the way to something. So maybe he'll stick with whatever he's started on this time. And then if you look at the other side of the draw, I mean, you've got France versus Portugal and Spain versus Germany. Now, I'll be honest, you're looking at England probably being the worst performing of everything that's left.
Worse than France?
Oh,
they haven't scored an open play goal.
Maybe not worse than France. To be fair, maybe not worse than France. But the thing with France, you know that they've got. I mean, who's suspended in it? Is it Rabiot suspended?
I think Rabiot's out next game.
Yeah, so he's gonna have to put somebody in there.
Chouameni, like Camavinga. There's a lot of decent players.
Yeah, they just haven't clicked. They just haven't clicked yet. And I do expect them to click at some stage. But Jesus, man, England, I think they're all coming back now.
All right. Well, Monday, a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about with the Holland match. First of all, we saw Dumfries favoured over Frimpong, both players that have been consistently linked with United. And also, I wasn't particularly impressed by the midfield pivot from the Dutch. Like on the TV channel I watched it on, they brought it up at halftime how great they were. I didn't think that they were particularly good. Do you think, first of all, Dumfries and Frimpong, and then do you think Holland are doable for England, or Van Dijk and Ake a bit too much for the misfiring forward line?
I think it's a long way off. It's one game at a time, isn't it? But Holland, obviously, the most renowned team in that half of the draw with England. So you would expect them to be in the semi-final, all things considered. When you're talking about their pivot guy, interesting. There was 2 of them. I was looking at them. One of them was quite good driving with the ball. I'm not too familiar with both guys, but I think with that Dutch style of play, it's all about just popping the ball around, getting at your feet, popping it. They're good ball players, sensible players, but no frills. And that's what he needs, because you've got players around him, in and around him. You've got width with Dumfries. He does get up and down the pitch. And you talk about Dumfries and Frimpong. I think I saw Frimpong play as a right winger early in the tournament. So I think maybe that's an option for them. Rather than him playing right back, maybe he's a bit vulnerable there, because Dumfries is a bit stronger, a bit more physical, and a strong runner as well. So he can fill in defence, and obviously getting forward, he's got a burst of pace about him. So very good balanced player there. Frimpong will probably play right wing or right attacking wide guy eventually if they need to change it again, which it probably will. Won't need to be with Ronald Koeman. But just going back to the midfield, not too much to say about it. I don't think it's that important. What they play a simple game to pair them, no frills, and get it to the guys ahead of them, like the young guy Simmons, who I've watched since he was like a cute little boy at 13, 14, with that guy Coleman Dembele. I don't know if you remember the clip years ago. Sounds a bit weird. When they were like 13, 14, him and Dembele, who went to Celtic and got released, now is playing in Spain, short little 5'2" guy. They were killing this tournament. They were absolutely brilliant, the pair of them. And it's really great to see, like, almost 10 years later, these guys are performing at the highest level. Well, one is Xavi Simmons. He's really got a drive, got the physicality. He turned into I thought he'd be a Xavi sort of player with the way he was playing football at such a young age, but he's turned into this driving, attractive, channel running, skillful player. And I think he's a great guy on the eye to watch. So I think with the 2 midfielders, they will give it to the wide guys, give it to the guys ahead of them, and let the magic happen. And that's what you need. You don't have to have these outstanding players in midfield. You just want players to do a simple job, turn the ball over, and just give them a bit of stability, because due to the fact that they've got so many talented players ahead of them.
All right, and Mr. B, just before we get to the comments, Weghorst was the striker that gave Rashford his best ever season. Would you be worried that, like, Weghorst against England, with the lack of a commanding aerial centre-back, plus, like, Xavi Simmons and people running off on the left, Could they come back to bite us?
Yeah. And all those people who laughed at him when he came on because he didn't score any goals for us, but he scores for Holland. So there will be people mocking the substitution that's going to be made, but that is the substitution that he makes. That is the one that he makes. My worry, or maybe not even a worry. I mean, we kind of half sent a message in the group chat that the two players that United are linked with, Xerxes and de Ligt, are getting no game time. Yeah, now obviously my thing is, well, they're not going to get injured, and they should be coming to us ready to rock and roll. But guys, in the thoughts and you guys, what are your thoughts? Would you rather they were starters so we could see them?
Yeah, I would like to see them play. I don't know you, Bath time, but I want to see them play before I have an opinion on them.
Yeah, I mean, like, I actually watched some highlights of de Ligt today in the Arsenal game in the Champions League. Was it quarterfinal? Whatever, but Arsenal lost it. And de Ligt and Dyer were the starting centre-backs. I think I'm warming more to the deal, to be honest, if it's under 40 million and it's 150k.
He's taking a pay. He wants to take a pay cut.
Yeah, but every time he's moved, his transfer value's gone down by 20 million. He was 70 million to Juve, 50 million to, so that's diminishing returns.
We're getting a bargain.
Or sloppy triples. Depends on if your umbrella glass is half empty or half full.
Good one.
Thank you. All right. Okay. We're going to start off with Steph's comment here. Look, Amonde didn't recognise you with hair. It says we got 7 likes, 13 people watching. On the numbers I've got here, I don't know what's going on, but it says 96.
I think they watch us on. I think they watch us on Twitter, and they don't like us on Twitter. We have to work out a way to get them to like us on Twitter.
Well, I went on to Twitter the other day because I completely forgot that someone banned my account on this channel, so I can't comment.
What are you talking about?
When I'm not on a show, if I write in the comments, I'm banned. So it doesn't get displayed. I know, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So I went to Twitch, and there was literally no one watching on Twitch. So I don't know where these numbers come from, but I mean they're imaginary.
They're not imaginary. Get lost.
All right. Well, we've just lost one, so they did. All right. Turkey will beat the Netherlands. Yeah, we'll talk about Turkey next. Amonde, I don't think English football fans can talk about a trophy drought.
Good one.
Memphis is just daft. England have better players than Holland, and on paper should beat them, but under Southgate ain't going to happen.
What is this paper?
Well, Amonde, you are addicted to positivity. Like if Holland play in England tomorrow, who would you put your money on?
It's a tough game, really tough game. It's really hard to call. I do think Holland fails flat to deceive, considering the players they have and the talent they have. And I would sort of favour England. The bookies would favour England as well. I'd pick England to beat Holland. But we're jumping the gun here. There's another game. We get there. Thank you. Why are we talking Holland in England so much? Don't even go there. We got that's the next week. We can talk about that if both teams get through tough games.
Nothing wrong with dreaming. Look, Kieran says England might get lucky though. Sometimes you don't perform and get through, which is essentially what England did against.
That's what they've done. Yeah, they've been doing it the whole time so far.
Yeah. And Steph says knockout football means you only have to beat what's in front of you. Not all good teams left in the tournament always got a chance. Look, when you're still in it, you're still in it, and anything can happen. Ask the Greeks. Tyrone says the commentary on the 2 terrestrial British sports channels I watched today could have been better. I'm a big fan of Ali McCoist, and I quite like Lee Dixon, but what I don't like is the referee they bring on, who's just like the fun police, and says,
"Is that the woman?"
Yeah, I don't like someone coming on and telling me the rules of football. I like saying, for me, that's not a penalty, not then having someone explain why it isn't a penalty.
Her accent does me.
Yeah, is she American?
Or Canadian? I have no idea, man, but it's horrible. Shut up, you bitch.
Oh, Mr. B, that's
Sorry.
unacceptable.
Sorry,
Like,
sorry. I'll blame it on the drink.
yeah, that's less umbrellas for you. All right. Stephanie Griffiths is saying, mind the Gakpo.
Good one.
Matty is saying the Dutch are missing De Jong and Klopp.
No, not Klopp.
Kloppmeister or something.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, De Jong. I'd like to see what Frankie De Jong's about, to be honest. And Tyrone is saying we're talking like England are already through to the quarterfinals.
Exactly.
Weghorst, are you being serious? Is this an alternative world? Look,
watch. Remember what I said.
You have to look at the facts. We deserve better. And Rashford, like 2 seasons ago, was okay up until Christmas. We signed Weghorst. He came back from the World Cup, and Rashford just went on an incredible run with Weghorst in the team. And I don't think that's a coincidence. So I'm quite interested to see what Xerxes might do for Rashford next season.
You've been calling that a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, my mate Dan, it's his first day at United today, and it looks like Rashford's brother is going for showdown talks. Like,
well, do you reckon it's showdown talks? Because I know obviously they're talking about him changing his agency. Well, he works with his brother, so I don't know what agency his brother set up. He's only got one client. It's going to be bloody Marcus.
All right,
but
what you have to think, Mr. B, is if you change your agency, do it for 1 or 2 things, don't you? And move on a contract.
He's already got his contract. Look, I'm getting used to the fact that Rashford might not be there. And to be fair, I'm not even bothered. I thought I would really be feel really sick, but if he's got to go, he's got to go. I'm so happy with what these guys are doing at the moment that if they decide that he's got to go, then I'll take that decision as the right decision, and he's got to go. Same with whoever else they decide. The fact that they've got a lot of untouchables, they're talking about listening to offers for this player. Wan-Bissaka's not being given a new contract. They're not even talking to him about a new contract, which means then he knows in his head he's got to go. Maguire, they're talking about, interest in Maguire. So if they said that a lot of the players were up for sale, sell their ass.
Mm-hmm.
They did say that actually, didn't they? In February, like the whole squad is available for transfer. Amonde, you're a positive guy. Do you think if we sold Rashford for 80 million, it's good all round for everyone, or are you still tempted by what Rashford could be?
The thing is, Rashford's at that age now where he should be coming into his best years. He's got the experience of playing at a higher level. He should be coming into this sort of next contract or next move should be the best move of his career. They always say, 27, 28, 29 should be the best years of your career because you've got that experience and you should be able to use that and push on. After that, it's all downhill. So we might miss out on the best years of him. It would be frustrating if he goes somewhere else and blows up and becomes the player that we all want him to be consistently, or he could stay at our club and we could be moaning about him every day on the Man United agenda about inconsistency. Because I have to admit, I think he's not being, look, at his age, he must be frustrated. He's watching Euros. He's not a part of it. The other guys like Palmer have just turned up, who he's probably thought, oh, God, look at this guy in the under-21s for all these years. They can't test me. And he probably thought that he was unstoppable. But don't forget, a couple of years ago, wasn't so long ago, he wasn't even in the Euro starting 11 when England reached the final. He actually came on. He was a sub. So he has to up his standards. He should be thinking, I should be better than Grealish or all these other guys, Sterling, or in his position. And now he's got a young bunch of players coming through who are over him again. So he needs to, if he wants to be the player we feel he should be, with all the talent and electric pace that he's got, then he needs to start delivering. And I think if you're coming to the table, if it's true Dan Ashworth's being signed up now and he's got to talk, they're going to talk to Rashford. Rashford's really, his bargaining tools and what his brother's going to bring, it's not much to say. It's like, well, you want to be saying, look what we've done in the past. We've been consistent. We've proven ourselves, but he can't. He's going to have to come timid to the table and say, well, please, sir, can I have some more wages or something like that? And it's going to be, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very interesting over the next couple of weeks on the agenda, and we may like to see what happens with the Rashford situation. Just to clarify, if he goes, I'm with Mr. B. Mr. B broke it down brilliantly. I've got a lot of trust with the way we're moving behind the scenes. I really like the new ownership and what we're doing. So I will trust it in whatever decision they decide is best, because they've got inside knowledge, inside information, and they know what's best for the club. I believe in them.
Yeah, the thing with Rashford is, I think everyone knows that I'm not a Rashford fan. I never have been. Too much. He does too much stuff that annoys me, but he's got everything to be a world-class footballer. And I think back to the two other players I thought were similar in Pogba and Martial, and how I really wanted them to be a success. Certainly Martial. Pogba, like before that Champions League game, that was a step too far for me when he demanded to be sold. But we kind of left money on the table with those two. They didn't get there. They didn't reach their potential. And I wouldn't be adverse to giving Rashford one more year, but having to see him really step it up. Like, not scoring lots of goals, but being consistent in every part of his football play. Pressing, working hard, showing the right mentality.
And play with his bloody head up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see what people are saying. Well, first of all, Tyrone, he wants Rashford, not good enough. We deserve better. It's a bit more like me. He wants to see Rashford under a year of best of class structure. Steph just wants 10 players out. Bart makes a good point, which is you can't sell Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Rashford, and McTominay all in one window because of the homegrown quota. So if Rashford goes, Mr. B, it's very likely that Scott McTominay will stay.
Well, look, let's keep, yeah, 100%. We keep Rashford. We keep Rashford. I mean, look, Wan-Bissaka is going to go. Wan-Bissaka is definitely going to go. I feel that there's a lot of, there's no smoke without fire with Wan-Bissaka. So does that mean that we lose one? And then Heaton's just signed a new contract, so he'll still be there. So he'll be down as a home.
Sancho's going though, hopefully.
Oh shit! Yeah,
and he counts as homegrown, which is why it's a difficult one, because I think that we can lose one homegrown player without replacing them. And if Wan-Bissaka, Sancho, and Rashford go, we need to get two homegrowns into the squad that are over the age of 21. So I'm not sure what the plan is for that, but hopefully they have one.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Emma is saying, to be honest, Rashford might be annoyed that his brother keeps publicly commenting on everything that has to do with him. Well, his brother's his agent, so I think that Rashford will have a large part to play in that decision making. Right. If Manchester United sell Rashford for 80 million, it's well over his real value. Take the money and run. Players like Nico Williams. I'm not sure people know a lot about Nico Williams. Do you know what club he plays for?
Bilbao.
So he's Basque. And that means he is on the most ridiculous wages. Nico Williams is on about 250 grand a week. Like, I think it's a very... Nico Williams is paid over £250,000 a week.
He's on...
Why? How can they afford that sort of wage?
Because what Basque player are you going to get to replace Nico Williams?
That's not necessarily the case.
That is the case. He's on a ludicrous contract, Nico Williams.
But his buyout's not much.
Yes.
His buyout 60 mil.
Yeah, but then you've got to pay the wages. Like Nico Williams is fabulously paid by Atletico Bilbao. That's a very hard deal to do. Carrot Boy, I don't know. I don't know about him, but they've both been very impressive with the Euros, so I understand it. But Nico Williams, you're looking at massive wages.
And he wants to go Barca, apparently.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, he ain't going to go Barca. What they're going to do? They
Just
broke.
pull a couple of levers.
They ain't pulling no more levers. I think
They've got that sort of Zimbabwean finance approach. Just pull some levers, hyperinflate. Who cares? Right, but no Premier League and most European clubs won't touch Rashford as his wages are ginormous. Also, Bran Rashford won't be the same with another club. So,
Tough.
a marriage of inconvenience is essentially what Bart is suggesting. All right. Yeah, look, Matty Bassett is saying Nico Williams 50 million release clause. Honestly, boys, go and check his agent. Go and check his wages. I don't think we can afford him. Rashford's brother, Rabiot's mum, and Xerxes' dad, pushy family members jog on. Excuse me. What's Xerxes' dad about?
I was just gonna ask.
Can someone, Steph, can you tell me what Xerxes' dad's all about? Right. Remember that
He's on 170 grand a week.
Wow.
What, Nico Williams?
Yeah.
I think that might be going up next season as part of his contract. I've heard from a few people that he's it might be 250,000 euros a week that he's on. But Spain has much nicer tax laws for higher paid footballers, so it's a lot of it's huge. His wages, they're absolutely huge. All right, I think we're going to move on to the Turkey game now. First of all, amazing match, but I think it's fair to say, Amonde, that Austria need major surgery.
No, you got an agenda with Ralph Rangnick. Yeah. And everyone has been applauding him. The media have been applauding him for his tactics. They got tune. He got tune out of Austria. You have to admit that. And you can answer, you can respond. I give you that. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. But I think Ralph Rangnick's done really well to get the tune out of Austria. Now, Austria, as you know, is the mother Deutschland, isn't it? Austria used to be part of it. We're a bit Switzerland. Obviously, it's Zurich and all, they speak German. So before the war, Germany or Deutschland used to consist of Austria. And
you heard of the Austro-Hungarian Empire?
Yes, yeah, massive. And this is
not part of Germany.
Okay, but they speak German in Austria. So before the war, Deutschland, with the Treaty of Versailles, they split up after the First World War. They split up all the German nations that belonged to Germany previously, or areas that belonged to Germany, and created its borders. So Austria still has an affiliation with Germany. So when you talk about this game, when you got Turkey, there's enough Turkish people living in Germany, and you got Austria who speak. Basically, they're on the border of Germany. It's like Scotland or Wales playing in England. Euros, it's a massive game, and I was really looking forward to this game based on that alone. Two informed teams, passionate teams. The fan base will be buzzing because there's, it's not like they have to travel far, and it was electric. It was an amazing game. Obviously, the Turks came through, and I just want to give credit. I'm going to give you a history lesson here, but there was a time in the 1980s when England were qualifying against Turkey and beat them 8-0. I don't know if you guys remember. Used to beat Turkey. Yeah, it's in the 80s. They under Bobby Robson. We beat Turkey 8-0, strolling at Wembley. Who are these Turks? They should get back to North London in their kebab shops and all that kind of thing. That was the running joke.
Okay.
That was a running joke with the Turkish back then, but it became a real legitimate football nation. You see teams like Galatasaray against Man United under Fergie. They gave us some problems. Hakan Şükür. If anyone doesn't know, he's the greatest Turkish player ever, and he's been shunned. They don't even. You're not allowed to mention his name anymore in Turkey. That's another story.
Oh, Erikden or whatever.
Yeah. You're not allowed to talk about Hakan Şükür anymore. But he was a great striker for them and for Galatasaray as well. And he's completely under the radar. You're not allowed to mention names like don't mention the war sort of thing with Hakan Şükür. But I want to say Turkey are tremendous. They've done really well from becoming like a San Marino of European football. They're now one of the giants. Even in their sort of their domestic clubs have won some major European competitions and been a threat over the years. And we experienced that when we went to Galatasaray, even though half their team were foreigners, But and they say welcome to hell. So the fans really put it on the opposition team, and it was electric in there today. So Turkey have really stood up. And if you remember a few years ago, they got to semi-finals against Brazil when they really had a good team then. And once again, they've stepped up, and it might as well be a home tournament for them, because it's never going to be a Euros in Turkey. I can't imagine that. It'll be too damn hot in the summer for that to happen. But they're playing in Germany. It's like a home tournament for them, and they've got to be considered now by getting through this game today against the mighty Austria with Ralf Rangnick, Vincent, and all these guys. You have to really consider them. They've got a good brand of football. They've always got skillful players, and they've got aggression as well. What they showed today was the aggression and the fight and the will. And this is a factor that's so often overlooked when you look at teams like France who just think they can turn up and win because of the names they have. Do France have the same desire as the Turkish players? Maybe not. This is why Barthelme was really excited about Romania, for the same factors there. So Turkey have the X factor, that they've got the home support. It's a home tournament for them. It's a home game because of the fans, and there's so many Turkish people living in Germany, and they've got through beating Deutschland speaking Austrian side today in a really, really exciting game. Big up to Turkey. They've come a long way. It shows you that if you've got that love for football, which they do in that country there, it's a beautiful country. It's been open to tourism now. You can get Turkish tea, you can get Turkish hair, you get all kinds of things in Turkey. But the one thing that they can't fake is their brand of football, which has always been on the up, and at the moment they've got an opportunity here to do something like Greece did a few years ago and actually go all the way and win the tournament. I'm really impressed by that.
That's your best waffle ever, Amonde. The Treaty of Versailles, the Turkish Tourist Board, and Turkey versus England in the 80s.
Yeah.
That was genius. Right, I got some breaking news before I get to you, Mr. B. Zerki's dad last week allegedly wanted him to go to Milan instead of United. Well, he can do one then. What is Milan compared to the Arndale Centre? Do you know what I mean? Right, Mr. B. First of all, you must have loved that game.
Brilliant. And I like exciting football. I wasn't expecting much from Turkey. I think they expected them performing what was the last tournament we were in? Was that the World Cup? They expected them to have performed in the World Cup, didn't they?
Yeah,
maybe they went out early, so maybe there was too much pressure on them. That Real Madrid boy, the young one, Real Madrid, they've got all of these young bangers, man. It's ridiculous.
They had Odegaard as well at 19.
15.
Was it 19? No, 6. Yeah, they had him at 16, didn't they?
15,
60. And we're playing him. Yeah, I mean, they get him in, man. They get him in. Look, that's another one that they've got. Yeah, I enjoyed watching Turkey today. I really, really enjoyed watching Turkey today. I thought Ralph's boys would have won. That was more maybe just to get under your skin. Because I knew I would have been on with you. But Turkey really, really impressed me today. Turkey really, really impressed me today. They've got a spirit, they've got a hunger, and their team's young, which means that maybe they've got a lot less fear than a lot of the teams that are going to be going in as favourites above them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game today, and credit to Austria. They played well, they kept going, and I've been in games where I've won, and at the end of the
you've been cloned.
Yeah. I'm about to rip my face off.
Wow!
No, don't worry. I'm going to diss them in a second.
Okay.
I'm just being nice because they were part of a very, very good game of football. But what I think that Turkey were much, much better than Austria, just on the basis that the Turks, I really like how they position themselves. So they're able to play quick, combinations and then cut through the press. And the problem with Austria and with this Bielsa Ragnick kind of football, and the reason I dislike it so much, is that I don't think that it generates enough consistent chances where that there's always going to be a player in a certain position. It's so reactive. And in the last 10 minutes, even though it was quite exciting, I didn't think that that Austria were going to score because there was no way that they were manipulating or moving space around that area. They were just lobbing it in, and that's really easy to defend. And I think that I always said this about Austria. I couldn't see them getting much further in the tournament because they don't respect how you develop and attack spaces. They just run about, win the balls and things like that. And because of that, it's just so fast. And you saw players like Sabitzer and Lima, who were they're good players, but they were never in position to take advantage of stuff because it was so chaotic and disorganized. And Monday, you don't like this?
No, just to have a conversation. I'm not bumping heads for you, but don't you think it's about the personnel as well? I don't think you said Austria reached as far as they possibly could have. So that's an achievement for them to get this far. No one would have expected that with the players they have on paper. There's 2 or 3 good players in their team. And the rest of them, they have to play to a system to get them maximize their potential. And I think they maximized their potential with what they've got by reaching this far and going out in a dramatic, tough game like that. You break them down and saying, well, they didn't have enough to break teams down at the end when they were forcing it too much. This is what England were lacking doing. They were trying to sort of pity-patter, get the way, break teams down. But Austria do it in their style. And it's been effective enough up to this point. I do think, if we're talking about going forward and like with teams, like the matchups we might get in the future, we've seen France struggle against Slovakia or Slovenia, whoever they played. England struggled against the same team.
Mm-hmm.
We struggled against Slovakia. So there's systems, as you always say, systems is like styles make fights in boxing. System against systems is what's intriguing about watching this level of football. So I think when you get to teams like Holland versus England, I think there will be more opportunities because Holland don't sit back necessarily and play Slovenia style football, or not. I would say Georgia were a good identity of a team who tried to maximize their potential and played solid and kept the space between the line and really worked hard on that side of the game, and they were difficult to break down. So I think when you get further in the tournament now, when you get France and Germany, Spain and Germany, that game, I think there'd be opportunities because both teams, both teams won't be coming up against a brick wall. You see what I'm saying? So now we get to the point where, okay, we've seen England struggle and France struggle, not scoring goals in open play and that sort of thing. But now when you're playing 2 teams who try to implement their style on one another, we're going to see better brand of football, more chances, more opportunities, and we're going to see the best ID, whether it's French football is the best ID, or Spanish football, or German football, or English football, or Dutch football, or one of these Swiss, or whoever, Turkish football. Who's got the best identity of football? Who's going to impose themselves on the tournament in the next coming rounds? It's going to be really good. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm fired up about it now that the teams who play brick wall football or get everyone behind the ball are sort of out of it. It's going to be more open and more pleasing on the eye.
Well, I quite like teams that get everyone behind the ball and stuff. It's it's part of football, and I think that one thing that's really disappointing me about this tournament is the really poor counterattacks that teams have had. And I thought that the Turks were one of the few teams that tonight showed that they're able to get out from a press and that they're able to sort of like launch from their resting attack. And I must also give enormous credit to that goalkeeper that is miles ahead of Bayinda. Like brilliant on the ball, but that save at the end, I mean, of course, that guy should bury it. But the keeper's pulled a great save out. That header beats 99. That goes in 99 out of 100 times, and the keeper's done beautifully to get that away. So should we check the comments?
Yeah, they're flying it.
Yeah. All right. Bart is saying, I think Bayinda will leave United this summer as he's lost his place in the Turkey squad. That gives us an opportunity to get a homegrown goalkeeper we never play in. Turkey don't have the same players of the past. The likes of Tuncay, Emre, Arda Turan are no longer there, but their spirit remains. And you've missed out my favourite Turkish player of all time. Oh, nice one, Amonde. Yes.
I know, midfield maestro like yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Tugay is one of the most underrated players you'll ever see. I loved him so much.
Do you reckon Ashworth would have appreciate these
No, I think that when Gary Neville said recently that England don't produce behind the ball players, I think that you need to look at people like Dan Ashworth and see how they are absolute accessories to the murder of English football. And day one is at the club. Golden Boy Rashford is leaving. Just, I mean, a disaster for football. All right, and Emma's saying that last minute save from Turkey's keeper Mert was beautiful. It was compared to Gordon Banks's Monday, which I still think is the greatest save I've ever seen. It was.
Well, mind you, I remember Pete Schmeichel's pulled off a save like Banks against Rapid Vienna, I think it was in the Champions League. Similar, it's so hard to tip it out, not only save it, but get it out of here over the bar. So magnificent.
Not from Pele though. I think that makes a difference. Who's on the end of it? All right. Tuncay Sanli was quite good. Turkey are currently enjoying a golden generation, at the centre of which is Koku, a former slot acolyte.
Oh,
is
here
this a
we
gambling
go.
joke?
Yeah. No,
You had to get it in. Boss, he's talking about slot, isn't it? Arnos.
Oh, the new Liverpool. Oh God, yeah,
exactly. Good old Bart had to sneak his slot in there somewhere, didn't he?
Well, he's not going to put anything else in a slot. Sorry, Bart. Turks have always been talented. Mesut is a Turk. A few of their players opted to play for the Germans. Yes, Monday.
Has anyone seen Mesut Ozil today? He's been pictured like being ripped to shreds.
Yeah,
more ripped than Blade from Love Island. Have you seen Mesut Ozil? Absolutely ripped. I don't know what he's been doing. It's a bit like Fernando Torres, left football and become like this muscle.
Well, he can take what he wants now. He's not getting tested.
There you go.
That's true. Do you know Fernando Torres has a Lord of the Rings tattoo?
Wow, where would that be?
On his body.
Where on his body then?
It's on his arm. It's in ten.
He said on his body. Fucking
yeah.
Clipped.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it is. I think it's on his arm, but All right. Look, DK Wilson. It's saying it was an awesome game. Yeah. The effort both teams played with was tremendous, and I agree. I mean, Monday, have you ever played a match that you've won and you've just been too knackered to even like celebrate it? It's just been such a battle.
Nothing comes to mind, but I watch games like that. When you watch games like that, you admire everyone and you feel sorry for the losers of games like that, especially when you put everything into it. And that's why I think sometimes you walk away, you can be proud of what you achieved. And like you say, if you're punching, you're punching. And both these teams, Austria would have got through. That would have been a major achievement for them to get to a quarterfinals. But it's been Turkey, and rightly so. I mean, Turkey over the last 10, 15 years have been slowly on the rise, and we're starting to see Ottoman Empire start to redevelop. You like my history there?
Yeah. Judging from the comments, they've always produced good players, the Turks.
Yeah.
All right. Tyrone, a man after my own heart. Ragnick ball is too robotic. Not enough ambiguity. Very repetitive and easy to defend against.
You know when you said, when you said you couldn't log in and type anymore. Are you lying to us?
But I'm Tyrone.
Tyrone, isn't it?
Yeah. But come on the show sometime, Tyrone.
Of course.
And we've got Moss World Sport. Of course, my Dutch won and back from the States. Health in Canada make history quarterfinals.
Wow.
I said Canada and the Copa America. They give me a break.
They might win it.
He's also said sad news for Tejon Buchanan. I'm not familiar with who that is, but I hope that he's okay.
What's happened? I don't know who he is.
Okay. The way halftime talks, you think Turkey won 3 or 4-0. In fact, they were one ridiculous save away from extra time. Yes, that's because I'm extremely biased, DK Wilson, and I think that Ralph Ragnick is an absolute prick that damaged Manchester United to a degree that I've never seen before. He legitimised every single toxic fan channel and idiot that talked about how rubbish the players were when he said major surgery. I can't stand him. Okay, and Steph is saying that Gundogan, of course, they chose Germany. So did I think Podolski was Polish, wasn't he, on Monday?
Yeah, he was
and
Polish.
Closer.
Yeah, but then you had a guy like Karim Kazim Richard, I think his name was, who's British, clearly British. He went and played for the Turks. And who was it? With the Leicester City player who used to play for Chelsea, midfielder Muzzy Izzet. Did he play for?
Oh, the man marker.
The man marker. You call him man marker?
No, I got showed a video on him when I was about 14 about Muzzy Izzet used to be deployed to man mark people in the Premier League by Martin O'Neill, and I watched a video where I did it to Dennis Bergkamp. I watched over an hour. Muzzy is it following Dennis Bergkamp around the pitch?
Well, I thought he was a more talented player. I didn't think he'd be employed to do something like that. But yeah, good shout.
Right. Tyrone is saying Arsenal dodge a bullet with Sesko. He's so poor. Glad Bath Time mentioned it. God, me and Tyrone are we're really striking up a good partnership tonight.
Bath Time's keyboard's quiet, boy.
I can't believe it. Fernando Torres does. It's written in Elfish. It's actually called Tengar, but I'll let you off on that, which is a form of Elfish. Love Island reference, and another tumbleweed just gone past my window.
We're trying to get Mr. B to watch Love Island, but it's not happening.
I know, like Casa Amor is as good as the Euros for me in the Monday. It's a knockout competition.
You put it in. I had no idea what you put Casa Amor in. I had no idea what the hell you was talking about.
Yeah, and then you demanded that I send you pictures of all the muscly men, like Glenn. And you said, I'm just getting my umbrella ready.
My rainbow one.
Island.
Okay. That's funny. Yes. Oh my days!
Look at that, DK Wilson, a Monday with the Ottoman Empire reference, and Steph's got an Ottoman bed, but she didn't get it from Empire beds though.
Stephanie's got puns galore. Hey,
yeah, Steph's fun. Like, all right, so we've done 52 minutes, which probably means that it's time to for Mr. B to get a refill. But is there anything, boys, that you want to mention about the Euros or what's going on with United or the Turkish tourist industry's gigantic steps towards opening up the Bosphorus?
I'm just happy how United are. I want the Euros to finish. I'm glad it started, but look, let it finish. We've got a pre-season game the day after the Euros. So Euro final day, we'll probably be doing a little assessment.
We're doing a match preview.
We bloody are. We can guess what players are going to be playing. I'm really happy with how United are carrying on at the moment, Bath Time. I know you're not happy. Yeah, I am, because the club needed a change. All right, we haven't sold any players. We never do. But I'm more excited. Maybe it's hope, because maybe the window will come and we don't sign anybody, or we don't sign the players that we want, and it's like last season where we were all frustrated. But I do feel that we're not going to go into the season short. I don't think they're going to let that happen. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing if the backing that we've given old Baldy over here is worth all the stress and all the abuse that we've got. Well, I've got.
It's true. Monday. Yeah, just to finalise, I think for me, I'm looking like Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Mainoo, and the main guys I'm sort of looking at now in the last, what we know in the quarterfinals of this European Championship. These are Man United players. They're playing really well, and it'd be great if it was a Portugal-England final and we see them come up against each other. I think any question mark about Kobe Mainoo being a starter for England is sort of gone out the window now. I think the manager's been very cautious, hardly changes his team. But after an epic game like that the other day, he's been forced into it. And Kobe played a blind eye. I really felt he played really well.
He wasn't on for the goals, though.
Sorry?
He wasn't on for the goals.
Well, it does, but I'm talking about his gameplay. Regardless of that, he can only do so much for the thing. His passing was good and crispy. He makes them tick. And I think if you get someone on the ball in those sort of areas, if you look at the highlights before with Trent playing that position, he gave the ball away a couple of times, went under pressure, things. So that's been resolved. And then as Conor Gallagher comes in, he just runs around like a headless chicken and chops people down and gets
Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as he comes on, that's his game. We saw when he came on the other day, we went to a 5-3-2. Conor Gallagher was.
That was hilarious.
Chasing, when he played Bulldog or...
he's crack addict. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Exactly
But
what I wanted
the
to
other
see.
players just were standing there watching him go. So you
Yeah.
go for it, you know. You want
It's
to do
like
all that running,
Tasmanian
doggy
devil.
running, back and forth, back and forth. But and then on the board, I think Conor Gallagher's got what Kobe's got. So Kobe's becoming a complete player, and to have that composure to play and have that demand the ball and be no fear, you know, I think it's brilliant. And I'm really excited. I know Mr. B doesn't want to see him playing burnt out, but I love watching him play football. And he had a good performance the other day. And long may
I watch the England games when he plays. I watch the. I have when he, you know, when I'll be honest, I watch the England games when Rashford played. If there's no United players playing, I have no interest in watching England play.
If Maguire
None.
was playing,
As I said, I have no interest in watching England.
You set him up for that.
Yeah, that's a 3 umbrella game if Maguire's playing. Like, look, I'm going to interrupt you here because Big G is saying, don't be skipping comments, Darius. Mine was comedy gold. Are you prepared for the comedy gold?
No.
Come on, let's
No,
see.
don't.
Bet he's had his ring destroyed. That's the comedy gold.
Jesus Christ, alright. Well, it is late. It's all right.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's well past it. You're right. You get away with that one, Big G.
Yeah,
it's a good one. It's a good one. It's a funny joke. It's a good joke, but I didn't want to. Yeah, I wouldn't have read it out.
Yeah, I did. I just thought that the Big G Gavin was demanding it, so I thought we'd all have to do it. And now he's saying I'm from Peterborough, not from Peterborough, I'm from Corbett. Massive difference. And then we got Tyrone saying Ugarte isn't a name that excites me. Neither is Zerki.
System players. Do you think these are system players?
Well, I mean, like, yeah, definitely. So Xerxes is like a player that is going to play like Harry Kane. He's a budget Harry Kane, who is who we wanted last season. My two concerns with Xerxes would be how he can adapt to the league, because I've seen Paul Pogba, who was turning people left, right, and centre in Italy, come to the Premier League, and he wasn't able to use that huge frame and all those skills just to brush people off. So I have a concern that Xerxes might not adapt to English football. And my other one is that when we watch England play, we can see how many of their players have problems with Kane because they've got to do the selfless running in behind. I think that Bruno and McTominay are the two standouts that would do that running all the time. But when you think of players like Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, maybe Ahmad, I don't know if they've got the running power or the desire to do it all the time. So I think that
he doesn't.
Yeah, so I think that there might be a bit of a curve for when he plays. But I like the idea of having a player that can cover Bruno in that false nine and can give us something different.
So you're saying cover Bruno in the false nine?
Yeah, Bruno's going to play, or whenever Bruno's fit, he's going to play. We saw him play centre-back against Liverpool, basically, for an hour with like one leg. Bruno's always going to be on the pitch whilst he's at the club. And our best performances last season came from having Mainu, Amrabat and McTominay in the midfield with Bruno as a false nine. So I suspect what we will see is we'll see Bruno go back into a sort of an 8 role, and Xerxes take that false 9-10 role. And that means that we can get Bruno sort of into his better position. But if Xerxes doesn't work out, Bruno's going into that false 9.
You reckon he's going to play Højlund on one of the sides?
I do, yeah. I think
if he plays Xerxes, because I'm hoping that this guy comes in and hits the ground running, so he can't be dropped. I'm not saying they're going to have to shoehorn Højlund in, but if he is the role that they want the forward runner to be, he's a willing runner and he's willing to chase. So maybe that could be something that something for them to look at. You know, they might not play as a pair, i.e. Cole and York, but it might be
they'll play wide.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They'll play. That's what I mean. Yeah, he'll play wide, and then obviously when he drops, he'll be the one that kind of comes over this left or right, whatever side they put him on. Maybe.
So do you think Garnacho and do you think that Rashford and Garnacho are going to be up for the same spot on the left?
Yeah, I do. I think that it was virtually that this season to last season. And to be fair, Garnacho kept him out. I think Garnacho kept Rashford out of that position. Now, if Rashford hits the ground running, what does that do for Garnacho next season?
Maybe this is why Rashford might be moving or looking for a move, because he doesn't want any part in this system. He wants to be playing deeper.
Yeah, but would he know? But would he know what the system? He's not going to know what the system is or was before the season starts. Surely he wouldn't be privy to that.
Oh no, I think they would, because they've had so many conversations with Ineos, the players, and I think Rashford's had at least 2 hours with Beresford in the last 6 months, and a lot of it will, because we know that Ineos are deciding the style of play, and that Ten Hag, Hake, the rest of them are going to coach it. So Rashford can go and speak to Beresford about what am I expected to do, what is my role going to be, how are we going to play, and as we've seen us moving to a false nine. What you have to think is that Rashford's going to be a sort of Salah style winger, where maybe not involved too much in approach play, but he's going to be making the runs like in behind. He's going to be applying the final touch, like probably not taking players on with the ball and things like that. And it might just be the case that Rashford isn't up for this. He doesn't think that that's his best.
You know what? On the Man United agenda, we always come up with great names and nicknames and slogans and that sort of thing. Mr. B called Garnacho the Sancho Slayer not so long ago, but now it's Garnacho the Rashford Slayer too, because this has come up. I mean, today, July the 2nd, where we are, talking about him edging out Rashford as well. Interesting. Just my final point on observations of this tournament, and if I was a neutral, I would be saying that Bruno Fernandes is a bloody good player. You look at Kevin De Bruyne, what he's delivering. He's playing us deeper and trying to dictate the play for his good Belgium side. And I'm watching what Bruno delivers as well for Portugal and for Man United. And I think we need to get off his back. This is a quality player, and not many players in world football can do what he does. They made an adjustment, Portugal the other day, and he started playing deeper and dictating the play and getting his head up and spraying balls, switching the play, dictating everything. He's a proper leader. For a team with Ronaldo and all these big personalities, to give him that responsibility, that speaks volumes. And I think we need to get off his back. I don't know why our player of the year last season, Bruno Fernandes, gets so much stick, because I don't think there's much difference between him and Kevin De Bruyne, who maybe you could argue Kevin De Bruyne's on the slide. If Bruno was playing for Man City, I'm sure they can get a tune out of him, and we were talking about him as one of the best players in world football. Because we've been playing for poor Man United over the years, he's still got great numbers, great assists, and I still think he's a quality player, as he's proving right now in the tournament.
What do you think, Amondo, to the fact that, like, I mean, you two obviously go on like Saeed's channel from time to time, and I saw Saeed put a video out about Rasmus Højlund the other day, and I've seen bits and pieces on social media where people are rapidly defending Højlund, saying that we need to support him and stuff. And then you look at a player like Bruno, who I completely understand why people get annoyed with Bruno. I share a lot of their frustrations. But you can't look past like how committed he is to the club, the manager, the fans. He gives everything like on the pitch, and I think better coaching is what is needed with Bruno. So why is it okay for people to go after Bruno, but not to go after Højlund? I don't get it myself.
Mr. B?
I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think Bruno's great. I say I do cuss, and I do, after a game when he's thrown his hand up in the air, he's played like a bit of. But if you look at his numbers, what he's done, even this season, 20 goal involvements in the last 22 games for us for the, end of the season. He played with a broken hand, a busted hand. He played with, the games that he missed were the games that he had to miss. So no, I think Bruno's great. Højlund is a work in progress. At 23, 24, he may be great. He may be, I'm not going to say he's going to be a world beater, but there's so many flaws to his game at the moment. And I think it's just been exposed in this tournament. We talk about, well, it was you, to be fair. Bath
Let's
time,
not be fair.
About to be when you spoke about him more concentrating on pinning the defender back than controlling the football. And it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. You know, in front of goal, I want him to have a variations of shot like Martial. Martial, you could blast it, you know, he'd finesse it in. Højlund's only got power. That's it. So there's a lot that he can improve on. I said with Ruud coming in, I just think it's going to be music to Højlund's ears. The fact
we
that
have seen different finishes from Højlund. He did a really nice one in the Champions League when he dinked the keeper, and like we saw some variety to his finishing. But you're right, like in the Euros, all he's doing is just trying to make the best contact he can with the ball and fire it through the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he had a shot the other day where he could have put in the corners and he just went straight to keeper, and it was a great chance for Denmark. I haven't been impressed with him for Denmark, and I always sit back and say, forget about my Man United, you know, support. Watching him as a player, would I be excited about him playing him for Denmark? And the answer is no.
Really?
And this is the reason why I do think I understand. You know, when we scored that goal and the three youngsters, Garnacho, Kobe, and Højlund, sat on the hoarding board and done that pose, and that's become significant with what we're trying to do now with young players coming through. So this is why I think the fan base and someone like Saeed TV, big up to him, he's on live now, but big up to Saeed TV as well. They would back him because you want to see their youngsters. Saeed's from Manchester. It's all about youth and that kind of thing. They want to back their youngsters. They want to get behind them. And whereas you say, well, why does everyone rip Bruno? Because I think Bruno can take it. There's so many, you know, he's an older player. He's experienced. I think Bruno is so good. Sometimes you think, he can just give it to him. He can take it. Look, he's a whiner. He's getting, you know, all the accusations.
All right, we'll change it to Maguire then.
Well, I think Maguire is the same thing again. He's easy target. I think it started with Jamie Vardy calling him slabhead and that coming out. It's true. It's just something like we have our private jokes behind the scenes. You know, I don't tell everyone that you call me pineapple head bath time, you know.
You've done me so dirty.
You know, yeah. No,
but
you know what I mean.
Dirty there.
Behind the scenes, everyone has their private jokes and everything else. I think for Jamie Vardy to put out about slab head and everything else, it completely mocks Harry Maguire. And where he's legitimate and talking about a move to Man United, suddenly he's this meme and a joke, and it's become a joke as a player. And slab head and all these things are said about him. Box head, block head, or you know, and it becomes a joke and it's not funny. Look what happened to Jason Lee, which I referred to with the pineapple head. But look at him. Yeah. He's hear him talking about with fantasy football with David Baddiel and Frank Skinner. They made a whole segment about Jason Lee. He's got a pineapple on his head, and it made him a mockery as a footballer. So every time you go to games, no one's cheering you. The rival fans are going against you, saying slap head or pineapple head or something derogatory. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think Harry Maguire's had a lot to deal with that name. And yeah, PM Dawn, whatever, Break Dawn.
Who is PM Dawn?
He looks just like her one day.
They've done the sampled Spandau Ballet and did that tune. I forget what it was. Break It Dawn, something about Break It Dawn. Anyway, but my point is, all these things can go against somebody, you know. And so the slab head, the pineapple on his head, these things are just mockery, and it's not good for the career. Look at, I was going to say Robbie Fowler doing that.
The cocaine one.
Yeah.
That was funny. That was absolutely
brilliant. Yeah. It might be funny and everything else, but it sticks with you. And I think a lot of these players need to be mindful of the fact that you don't want to get ripped too much. And Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes, two players there currently at Man United, who've been under a lot of pressure from the media and social media and been mocked and become a joke. But still, you have to have a lot of resilience. I was listening to Jamie Lawrence, he was giving a speech about resilience is so important, whether it's youth academy, being rejected at clubs or being rejected by Dan Ashworth, you know, but having the resilience to continue in the game and come through. And with
hold on to your grudges.
Yeah,
let it fuel you.
But it's true though, in football you have to be resilient to endure all this stuff. We might think I'm getting paid enough, but it still has an effect on these guys. So the Harry Maguire thing, yeah, he does get a lot of stick, and I'm blaming Jamie Vardy for that.
Well, I remember Graham Rousseau was called gay throughout the 90s and 2000s. And it was because Robbie Fowler saw him reading the Financial Times, which is a pink newspaper. And I think Graham Rousseau's talked about how difficult that was. But anyway, right, we've done an hour and 10 minutes. Mr. B needs a refill. We're probably back tomorrow with United news.
Yeah, we talk United tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah, I've got some stuff on Xerxes I can talk about. I looked at the data
Superb.
on him.
Superb.
But yeah, we'll be back at 9 o'clock tomorrow then, boys.
I'm good for 9. I'm good for 9.
I'm good.
Are you all right for 9 on Monday?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to watch Love Island later, but yeah, I'll be all right.
Well, we'll
Oh.
both have to watch it later. We need to find out about Blade, what he's been up to. All right. Thank you very much to everyone who's watching. If you're watching in the and it's not live, feel free to drop a comment or whatever. And I hope that you all have a lovely evening. So it's good night from all of us.
Good night, guys.